Let me be absolutely clear. Leaving the European Union would be economic suicide. You cannot overstate the damage it would do to British livelihoods and prosperity. 3 million British jobs are linked to the single market. 3 million. As a member, we are part of the world's biggest borderless single market, made up of 500 million people. It's now the largest economy in the world, ahead of the United States, and it's where we do around half of our trade. Major non-European companies, like this one here, build their factories here precisely because we are a springboard into the European Union. It gives us access to trade agreements with over 50 countries around the world, and we've launched negotiations with Japan and the United States. The latter, a trade deal with the United States, could bring an extra £10 billion to our country every year. But on our own, we'd have to renegotiate all of those trade agreements from scratch and from a position of weakness. Government would spend a decade or more doing nothing else. The fact is, you cannot be for a stronger economy if you are for leaving the European Union. And it's not just jobs and prosperity. What will happen to our influence in the world if we choose to go it alone? Of course, Britain must build up relationships with emerging powers and like-minded nations in other continents. But this idea that we can pull up the drawbridge, drift away from our neighbourhood, our historical and geographical allies, only to sort of float around in some new network of relationships, is, in my view, a nonsense. I worked in the European Union. I used to negotiate trade deals with the Russians and the Chinese. We simply will not be taken seriously by the Americans, the Chinese, the Indians, all the big superpowers, if we're isolated and irrelevant in our own backyard. We stand tall in Washington, Beijing, Delhi, when we stand tall in Brussels, Paris and Berlin.